Good morning, one and all. We gather today to remember, to grieve, to honor, and to release Sara Sterphone Rind back into the great and mysterious cosmos from which she came, back to God. This important perfume, this holy water in the story of Eric and Sara, an important detail from early in their relationship, symbolizes the holy connection we have with Sara, the stories of her that will live on forever in us, especially Eric, and the interdependent web of existence of which we are all a part, the connection between us all. It symbolizes the universe to which Sara now returns.
The sun and hold you in the palm of his hand. The snare of the fowler will never capture you, and famine will bring you no fear. Under his wings your refuge, his faithfulness your shield, and he will raise you up on eagle's wings, bear you on the breath of dawn, make you to shine like the sun, and hold you in the palm of his hand. You need not fear the terror of the night, nor the arrow that flies by day. Though thousands fall about you, near you it shall not come, and he will raise you up on eagle's wings, bear you on the breath of dawn, make you to shine like the sun, and hold you in the palm of his hand. For to his angels he's given a command you dash your foot against a stone. And he will raise you up on eagle's wings, bear you on the breath of dawn, make you to shine like the sun, and hold you in the palm of his hand. And hold you in the palm of his hand.
Let us pray. Almighty God, that which moves us through existence and connects us to all in the past, present, and future. God, the story of Easter, when your Son, Jesus of Nazareth, returned from death, just like flowers returning to bloom in the spring, that story is one that can symbolize great hope and promise in our lives, especially when a loved one dies. Grant that through this mystery, this mysterious story, the cycle of life and death, grant that Sara may share in the universal connection of this cycle. And grant that her memory will live forever in and through those who love her. We ask this through Jesus Christ, your Son, whose life and work lives forever with you and the Holy Spirit. Amen. I invite Chris up for the first reading.
Hello. Before I begin, I'd just like to share for a brief moment what this poem selected by Eric is about. It's a fair amount to take in one sitting, but if you can understand it, I think it's a pretty apt choice. Written in 3 stanzas, The Choir Invisible by George Eliot describes the hopes that a speaker has for the afterlife and the impact her memory might have on those still living. In the first stanza, she hopes that she might be given the honor of joining those in heaven who live again through the minds of the living. Her vision of the afterlife stems from genuine goodness, desiring to positively influence everyone thinking of her and inspiring anyone in need. In the second stanza, the speaker describes what heaven is like for her, no longer dragged down by the sorrows of her past life. In the third, the speaker hopes that she and the choir invisible will be able to help improve the earth. Together, they will construct a better world and soothe those in distress. Oh, may I join the choir invisible of those immortal dead who live again in minds made better by their presence. Live in pulses stirred to generosity, in deeds of daring rectitude, in scorn for miserable aims that end with self, in thoughts sublime that pierce the night like stars, and with their mild persistence urge man's search to vaster issues. So to live is heaven, to make undying music in the world. Breathing is a beauteous order that controls with growing sway the growing life of man. So we inherit that sweet purity for which we struggled, failed, and agonized with widening retrospect that bred despair. Rebellious flesh that would not be subdued, Poor, anxious penitence is quick dissolved. Its discords, quenched by meeting harmonies, die in the large and charitable air. And all our rarer, better, truer self that sobbed religiously in yearning song, that watched to ease the burden of the world, laboriously tracing what must be and what may yet be better, saw within a worthier image for the sanctuary and shaped it forth before the multitude, divinely human, raising worship to higher reverence more mixed with love. That better self shall live till human time shall fold its eyelids, and the human sky be gathered like a scroll within the tomb unread forever. This is the life to come, which martyred men have made more glorious for us who strive to follow. May I reach the purest heaven, be to other souls the cup of strength in some great agony, and kindle generous ardor, feed pure love, beget the smiles that have no cruelty, be the sweet presence of a good diffused, and in diffusion ever more intense. So shall I join the choir invisible, whose music is the gladness of the world.
I have loved you with an everlasting love. I have called you, and you are mine. I have loved you with an everlasting love. I have called you, and you are mine. I have loved you with an everlasting love. I have called you, and you are mine. I have loved you with an everlasting love. I have called you, and you are mine. Seek the face of the Lord and long for him. He will bring you his light and his peace. I have loved you with an everlasting love. I have called you, and you are mine. I have loved you with an everlasting love. I have called you, and you are mine. Seek the face of the Lord and long for him. He will bring you his joy and his hope. I have loved you with an everlasting love. I have called you, and you are mine. I have loved you with an everlasting love. I have called you, and you are mine. Seek the face of the Lord and long for him. He will bring you his care and his love. I have loved you with an everlasting love. I have called you, and you are mine. I have loved you with an everlasting love. I have called you, and you are mine.
You do not have to be good. You do not have to walk on your knees for 100 miles through the desert repenting. You only have to let the soft animal of your body love what it loves. Tell me about despair, yours, and I will tell you mine. Meanwhile, the world goes on. Meanwhile, the sun and the clear pebbles of the rain are moving across the landscapes, over the prairies and the deep trees, and the mountains and the rivers. Meanwhile, the wild geese, high in the clean blue air, are heading home again. Whoever you are, no matter how lonely, the world offers itself to your imagination, calls you like the wild geese, harsh and exciting, over and over announcing your place in the family of things.
As part of our Remembering Sara, her beloved spouse, Eric, has prepared a video celebrating her memory. Today's homily. Sara is known for her laugh, especially when she has a cold or allergies. As we connect to her memory for the next several moments, even if we don't hear her laugh today, I'm sure those of you that knew her can imagine it and hold it in your hearts. May we all celebrate the joy Sara brings to all that know her.
So we're always living in another rose. It seems I'm forgetting your face. You and I will always be back then. 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 Singing, will happen, happen, happen. Will happen, happen, happen. Will happen again and again. 'Cause you and I will always be back there. If there's something to force outside of time and take us back to when we were, and please show my bright pictures on the wall inside a billion tiny breaks, so that we can see it all. If you like, will happen, happen, happen. Will happen, happen, happen. Will happen again and again. 'Cause you and I will always be back there. 'Cause you and I will always be back there. 'Cause you and I will always be back then. That's why you and I will always be best friends. And now that we've reached the end, I think we'll always pass. But by the time it's so fast, I have how I've come to depend. I wanna think of me inside your guiding hand. Say you'll go with me for love, for love again. When I ain't much before, there's nothing I can say, but I promise you each and every day. that goes through my mind. I see your face, every cloud that goes through my sky. And when my world is too much and the birds got me down on my knees, so I'll hear your voice. You be so far away. Do you remember the moonless night? When it's not all the ocean can do. It wasn't that we knew, but this was right. And at the ocean we shared so many nights. Oh, say you'll come away. Even though I know it's just a dream. Although I know it's unknown, something I gotta do alone. But I swear to you, I can never do anything without your soul inside. I'll hear your voice, every thought that goes through my mind. I'll see your face, every cloud that goes through my sky. I'll hear your voice, won't be so far away. Someday I'll hold you, we will be saying, and I'll never have to say goodbye. So you tell them that I'll hear your voice, every thought that goes through my mind. I'll see your face, every cloud that goes through my sky. And the world is too much, and the birds got me down on my knees. I'll hear your voice, won't be so far away. I'll hear your voice, won't be so far If I could begin to be half of what you think of me, I could do without anything. I could even learn how alone. When I see the way you run, wondering when I'm coming back, I could do without anything. I could even learn how alone. done right by you. I would do without anything. I would even learn how to love. When I see the way you look, shaken by how long it took, I could do without anything. I could even learn how to love like you. Like you. Love me.
That's awesome. One of the ways that we grieve is by telling favorite stories and sharing dear memories. I did not know Sara, but you did. And so I invite Kathy Dallas and AP Pierce, and then finally Sara's beloved Eric, to share their stories now before we return her to the earth.
Eric, what a beautiful tribute that was. Well done. I know you put countless hours and love into that. As you heard, my name is Kathy Dallas, and I am speaking on behalf of Sara's aunts and uncles. I am Sara's aunt on her mom's side. There's so much to say about Sara and what a special human being she was. What comes to mind most of all is the way that she cared for and impacted others. To meet Sara was to love her, and even more importantly, to feel her love. She had the most amazing laugh, as you've heard. It was so contagious that she could make even the crankiest of people crack up. As the first grandchild in both the Sorg and Sterphone families, Sara held the sun, the moon, and the stars. She was deeply loved and doted upon by her grandma and Poppy Sorg, who passed away a few years ago, and her grandma and grandpa Sterphone, who fortunately got to spend some time with her last week. Her lifelong love of music started early. I can remember watching Sara and Jay for a weekend when Sara was about 4 or 5 years old and her parents had to go away to a wedding. At that moment, she was infatuated with Peter Gabriel's song, Your Eyes. I think we played that song 375 times in a 48-hour period. From playing a favorite song over and over to attending numerous concerts, such as Elton John in Madison Square Garden, U2, Steve Miller, Journey, just to name a few, to seeing Queen in Las Vegas on a very special girls' trip in 2018 that I personally will never forget. She not only appreciated listening to good music, she was also gifted as a singer and performer, most recently sharing her amazing talent in a German choir. I mean, how cool is that, right? Sara was obviously beautiful on the outside, as anyone and everyone could see, but she was even more beautiful on the inside. She had an amazing heart and was always quick to share it with everyone around her. She always made a point to show how much she cared by being there when it most mattered. She would go out of her way to visit family, to make time for and participate in special events, even paint Christmas ornaments with a much younger cousin, or hold my mom's hand to steady her so she could walk in the sand at the beach and put her toes in the ocean one last time. Over the last few months, our family has had the opportunity to read all the comments on the Caring Bridge site and hearing how impactful Sara was to not just her family, but to the many friends that she's made here and in New Jersey is a beautiful testament of her legacy. Of course, it's impossible to talk about Sara without mentioning how she endured these last 10 months. I have been so inspired and in awe of her strength, her courage, her selflessness, and even her good humor. Nut carcinoma showed up without warning and turned routines, plans, and the future into turmoil. Somehow, Sara remained focused on others. In a recent Facebook post, Sara said, and I quote, "If you only have energy to spend on one person, I urge you to support Eric. He's got the way shittier end of the shit stick." Pardon the language. So to you, Eric, I commit my family's support. We will always be here for you. Sara lives on in each of us, so please lean on us to help you. I end with Sara's own words from that last Facebook post. "Thank you all for being a part of my life. I've been the recipient of so much goodness, kindness, grace, and happiness in this life, and I am so grateful to you all. And I think I can speak for all of us when I say that we're so grateful for Sara in the time, though not enough, that we got with her." Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I'm AP. I first met Sara in the entrance of a movie theater, ready to try to impress her into liking me since I'm her sibling's partner. By the time we finished the movie and were parting ways, I was determined to be her friend. Over dinner, games, boba, and many, many conversations, Sara made me feel like more of a sister than an in-law. Being her friend is a gift in my life that I will always, always cherish. So I want to talk a bit more about what it means to be Sara's friend. Being Sara's friend means you have to accept being helped and being powerless to stop it. You'll end up accepting her help with one thing or another. Though sometimes impeding her ability to accept help herself, Sara could enter into any situation and find a way to ease somebody's burden. While you must accept help as Sara's friend, you also have to accept her apologies for helping you, and apologies for apologizing, and apologies for apologizing about apologizing. Not only was Sara always willing to fight for justice and the rights of others, it was also not much of a surprise to hear, for instance, that she had been checking in with and sending things to my old roommates with a newborn daughter. I'm sure it's not a surprise to learn she remembered the names of every single nurse and service worker who saw her in and out of the hospital and talked to them about their days off or their big move or their children. Being Sara's friend means you will witness what it means to truly be committed to caring, to making the lives of everybody around you better. Being Sara's friend means you will hear the most beautiful singing of 80s pop and the Pokemon theme song that you could ever imagine. Africa by Toto never sounded better, especially with Eric and Jay harmonizing. Being Sara's friend means tons of infectious laughter, oftentimes morbid humor, and moments of incredible joy. I don't think there was a day that I got to see Sara without lots of laughter, no matter the activity. Bags, game nights, concerts, or watching videos of, looking at pictures of, talking about, or petting cats. Speaking of which, the last time we went to visit the cat cafe, Sara could identify almost every cat there by name and checked in with the caregiver to see how they were doing. Being Sara's friend means you are heard, truly heard, in a way that makes you yourself a better listener. You are treated kindly in a way that makes you kinder. You are seen in a way that makes you see differently. It was never difficult for Sara and me to get into deep conversations about just about anything, and I'm not unique in that. Sara was always game to listen to people talk about their interests and their passions, staying for hours in these kinds of conversations and never bored, always listening, even if it meant not getting work done. How do you not open up when you are being so kindly and gently held in conversation? How do you not offer greater kindness and patience when you are faced with it at each turn? How do you not look at the world differently after seeing it from her perspective? As Sara's family, friends, and community, I hope we can leave here with renewed faith in the goodness and importance of being with each other, with memories of joy and care and adventure, with taking Sara with us not just in our hearts, but also in our actions. I love you fiercely and always, Sara. Thank you.
You know, this is the one day of clouds. 5 days before and 5 days after, it's going to be sunny. Much like our wedding, actually. Thank you all for being here. Many of you have traveled from quite a ways. Sara would be floored to see all of you here. She'd have a tough time facing you, facing the fact that she was a tremendous influence on everybody that she met. Really, she would turn around and look the other way for a moment, trying to convince herself that this was all some strange coincidence. Surely all these people are here. They're gathered here to celebrate some other, more deserving individual. I'll bet most of us can remember the first time that we met Sara. The brightly colored clothing, her general presence in the room, and the laughing, always with the laughing. If I ever got separated from her at Costco, it was like a beacon leading me back to her. If she was in the other room, and we live in a split kind of house situation, so if I was in the back, I could tell if she was watching 30 Rock or Veep, depending on the frequency at which she was laughing. There's even one time that I was sitting out in the car at 5 Points CVS in the parking lot. I could hear her laughing at the back of the store, picking up her prescriptions at the pharmacy. And the door opening and closing with people coming in and out added this cool little Doppler effect to it. Sara often talked about the first time that I asked to see a movie with her and how she accidentally turned me down. But she didn't talk too much about how I first called her almost a year later. I was prompted by a mutual friend at the time that she was somewhat into me. And I had made up my mind. So I did what any sane teenager would do in 2005. I found this ancient tome in the kitchen cabinet. It had all these names and numbers on it, and they were on yellow pages. I don't know if you've heard of this. And I just called the first Sterphone I could find. I got Grandpa Sterphone on the other line. And yeah, I had worked up my courage to do that, and that was not the way I saw it going. They redirected me to the correct Sterphone household. And I got a Sterphone father was, the tone in his voice was not pleased that a random boy was calling for his daughter, but he came around in the end. We talked, this was a landline, by the way, so I was taking up the family's phone service at the time. And we talked well into the night, right before midnight, and this was a school night. And yeah, the rest is history. I very cringingly sang to her on that phone call, and I've done it every year since on January 31st, and I think I will do that. And it'll be one of the things that I do from now on. And yeah, the rest is history. If you ever want to hear any stories about her, there's plenty to have. You can just ask. Sara once told me that funerals are not for the departed, and are instead for us, those who are left behind. We're not going to be okay for a little while, and that's okay. That song you used to sing together, it's still a good song, and it'll be good again. The TV show with the rapid fire zingers, it was good writing, and it'll make you laugh again. That scenic spot along the ocean, the sunset is still spectacular, and it will humble you again. Whatever your strong associations are with Sara, it's okay that they're broken for now. Today is the first step in our collective mourning. And this is not to say that in our healing, we risk forgetting her. I dare you to try. Someday, years from now, you'll see an out-of-touch advertisement, an interesting vanity plate, or the latest campy horror movie, and you'll realize that you'll know exactly how Sara would have reacted. You can even hear her giggling. Instead of silently shedding a tear, you'll unconsciously chuckle at the thought, without regard to whoever is around you. I believe that this is the piece of joy Sara implanted in all of us, where it shall remain for the remainder of our lives. She had a lot of love to give, and I count myself lucky to have received and been allowed to reciprocate that love at all. While we are not together the entire time since we've met, I've loved her for half of my life. She was my warmth, my teacher, and my best friend. She wasn't fond of saying goodbye, and instead opted for a different set of parting words. Sara, we'll see you later. Thank you.
Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom. Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom. Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom. come into your kingdom. Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom. Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom.
To live in this world, you must be able to do three things: to love what is mortal, to hold it against your bones, knowing your own life depends on it, and when the time comes to let it go, to let it go. Mary Oliver. And so it is time to let the mortal go. May we be comforted in the love we share with one another, joyful in the love that we share with Sara, and thankful for the gift of her life among us. And may our way through life be filled with the healing of mercy, peace, and love. I do not know where we go when we die, and I do not know what the soul is or what death is or when or why. What I know is that the song once sung cannot be unsung, and the life once lived cannot be unlived, and the love once loved cannot be unloved. Thus may it be today, tomorrow, and forever. Amen.
nothing, I am nothing without love. Faith, hope, and love, let these endure among you. And the greatest of these is love. The greatest of these is love. In the end, when the earth is silent, when all things pass away, we shall see the face of God in shining splendor. There are three things that will lead us to that day: faith, hope, and love. Let these endure among you. And the greatest of these is love. The greatest of these is love.
I would like to thank everyone that came today to show support to the family and for Sarah's celebration. This is what this is, a celebration of her. For those, I would like to say their final goodbye. You may do so at this time. If we may start from the back pews and move forward and exit through the side doors. Thank you so much.